speak what you want into existence. It doesn't matter whether it's your current reality or your environment says you can have it or not have it. You can have whatever you can imagine. So imagine it, fantasize about it, get yourself fully committed to it, get disconnected from the present situation and the results that you're getting, and just bring your focus back on what it is that you're going after. And it's going to continually show up. The results they're always in our face. So they're going to continually show up. The bad behaviors, the results we don't want, the relationships that we don't want, the health that we don't want. Reject it. Reject it all. There is no such thing as going back. Because going back to that paradigm, we have built a new paradigm. And once you build that new paradigm, the old paradigm becomes obsolete. We don't change the old paradigm. Most people, that's their attempt. They're trying to change their current reality. No.
You have to go to the whole new world.
Yeah.
Whole new vision. Let's
build a whole new reality.
Let's build.
And as we build these habits, we make the old reality obsolete. The old paradigm will become obsolete. The old paradigm is not gone yet, though. It's still going to be there like, hey, let's go back here. But no, you override that.
Yeah.
Step into that person, this new version of you that you want to become.
Hey friends, summer is here and Sacred Sons events are happening all around the globe. I want to send some gratitude out to all of the brothers who have joined us in this year of 2024. And we want to send some love your way with a summer sale. If you are feeling called to do the deep work, if you have a brother, a son, a father in your life that you would like to gift this experience, now is the time. Use the code, all caps, SUMMER24 for 20% off all Sacred Sons events, trainings, merch, cacao. Coming up next, Sacred Sons has an immersion in Perth, Australia, June 22nd through 23rd. Also, June 22nd and 23rd, join us in San Diego, California for an immersion. June 27th through 30th, we will be having Prime Leadership in Big Bear, California. Prime Leadership is our highest level of training. Again, for my fathers out there, if you're looking for a Father's Day gift, look no further than a Sacred Sons experience. Coming up after that, we have an immersion in Nevada City, California, June 29th through 30th. Also, June 29th and 30th, we will be in Byron Bay, New South Wales, Australia for an immersion led by my brother Ryan Rollins and his team in Australia. After that, the immersion is coming to Puerto Rico, San Juan, Puerto Rico for the first time. Sacred Sons is heading your way. We're also coming to Vancouver, BC, Copenhagen, Denmark, Salt Lake City, Utah, and finally, an immersion July 13th through 14th in New York City, Queens, New York. Stand up. Go to sacredsons.com. Choose the event you would like to go to. Use the code SUMMER24 at checkout for 20% off, and we will see you there. June is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, and what better way to honor it than by getting right with your heart, with your mind, with your spirit, and with your brothers. Go to sacredsons.com. Get connected to your heart. Change your life. Much love.
Peace, family. Adam Jackson here with another episode of the Sacred Sons podcast, a podcast where we talk about the pillars of masculinity. And on this episode, we are going to be talking about the financial pillar. I find for so many men, this is one of the places where they actually have the most withholds, right? You know, around the financial pillar. You know, we talk so much about what it means to be a man, to be a protector, to be a provider. And so what does it mean to provide in 2024? Fortunately, today we have my brother Said here to give us some codes. Said is a longtime business owner. How long have you owned your business, Said?
Yeah, so I opened up my salon back in 2008. When the economy was going downhill, I decided to go uphill. And yeah, so I've had it for almost 16 years.
Almost 16 years. Mm-hmm. And since then, you have gained a wealth of knowledge. You've taken courses with the best of the best, Tony Robbins. Who are some of your other mentors?
Yeah, so definitely Tony was the guy that introduced me to the game of self-development.
Yeah.
And then once I experienced him, I wanted to know more. There's so many people out there that are actually helping in this space. And finally, I found my mentor, Bob Proctor.
Yeah, Bob Proctor.
Yeah. And I fell in love with his material. And I've been involved with his material since late 2018 or so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you found this material, you brought abundance into your own life, and then you found Sacred Sons, and now you feel called to share some of these tools with our community.
Absolutely.
So with that, please welcome our guest, said.zaarour.
Thank you, Adam.
Yes, brother. It's such an honor to be here with you, Said.
Dude, I am so happy to be here. I'm so grateful to be sitting here with you.
Yeah.
And having this conversation. So thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you are just coming off of a Sacred Sons immersion in LA. How was that experience for you?
Immersion in LA. This is my third one.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to my next one. Just put it that way. There's always this part of me when I'm there that don't want to be there. But then there's this other part that says just go with it, go with the flow.
Yeah. The resistance comes up.
The resistance comes up with every event that I go to.
Yeah.
But I always leave 1,000%. So in such a more better place.
Yeah.
So that's why I continually to show up over and over again, because I see the difference in my life, in my family's life, you know, how I treat my kids, how I treat my significant other.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to go backwards. Just put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, there's always more to look forward to. And I remember you came into Convergence 8 last year. That was your first experience.
Actually, that was my third one.
Okay.
I had done 2 previous immersions.
Okay. Oh, that was your third immersion.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah. So I had done 2 immersions prior to conversion. And it's just continued from there. The first immersion, I showed up on Sunday. I didn't even show up on Saturday.
Yeah.
You know, because of business and the schedule, etc. And then I show up to this space with 50 other brothers, and I'm like, this is kind of weird. This is kind of awkward. But it turned out to be the most beautiful experience. And that's why I continually keep coming back.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So you are someone who has found success in your business. So you're embodied in that way. And so you're coming to Sacred Sons for some of the physical, emotional, mental, spiritual practices that we have and for the brotherhood.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I was already fairly successful.
Yeah.
And, you know, I had a goal. My goal was to get to a better place emotionally.
Yes.
Financially.
Yes.
But emotionally, I was doing the finance stuff, and that was great. But emotionally, I didn't know how to get to this place of total blissfulness, total peace. My emotional state was like this. I wasn't in control of my emotions because I was not in control of my thoughts.
Yeah.
So my goal, my decision, my commitment was to get to that better place emotionally. And Sacred Sons was one of the things that has helped me in this aspect.
Yeah. I find that a common story with men who have made a lot of money, where they did that in such like a single-minded way that they neglected other aspects of their life. Do you see that also with men who are financially successful, but maybe like have a bit of a void, you know, in the other areas?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I see it all the time, you know, within my clients, within the community that I live in. Everybody needs this kind of work where we heal.
Right.
Where we get to a better place, where we release the stuck energy that doesn't serve us.
Yeah.
It didn't serve me. And I know how much of an effect it's had on my life once I started doing the work internally. Not just up here, but also get rid of some stuck energy in my body.
Yeah.
And it's a shortcut to therapy. is what I've experienced with these events that I show up with Sacred Sons. Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
I think because I know it's because we release so much energy when we're there.
Yeah.
You know, like we play.
Yeah.
We jump, we dance. You know, some of the traumas that we've experienced, which we all have, right? That energy just gets stuck in your body. It has nowhere to go.
Right.
So there's got to be an outlet. Yeah, you can go to a 5-year, you know, have therapy with your therapist for 5 years, 10 years. But to me, this is a shortcut. If I can get the same benefits in 2-3 days, you know, why would I still go to a therapist? I mean, they're good in their own ways. Don't get me wrong. Everybody should have somebody to talk to.
Absolutely.
But this is definitely a shortcut.
Yeah. You know, like being in connection with other humans and going through something together, which is what we do. You know, Sacred Sons is often like, it lightens the load maybe that we carry. Even in sharing our story, receiving other people's stories, like it strengthens us in a way.
Yeah.
And I also think in the financial ways, it's a similar thing. The more that we get out in front of these things, talk about them, talk about our challenges, talk about our goals, which is what we're going to get into.
Yeah.
The more that we get out in front of that shadow, the more abundance comes into our lives, the more light can enter, you know? And so it's a similar, there can be a similar financial wounding. And I want to just, before we get into tools and we have some practical tools coming, I want to talk a little bit about who you are and where you come from. Because you are not someone who has had it easy.
Yeah.
You know, I've been in spaces with you. I've heard a lot about your story. And so you come from not only, like a background of poverty, but you come from war.
Yeah, definitely.
And so where were you born?
So I was born in Lebanon.
Yeah.
You know, the side that you see me today is the business owner, the business coach, mindset coach, you know, living in this beautiful area, Redondo Beach, San Pedro, California. But it wasn't always that way. Mm-hmm. You know, I remember when we came to the U.S., we lived in the 15th poorest city in the whole country.
Yeah.
Lawrence, Massachusetts. Prior to that, I'm originally from Lebanon. So I was born in Lebanon.
Yeah.
And around the age of 4.5, we experienced war.
Yeah.
So we had to pack our stuff and go. Where to go? We didn't know where to go. We just know that we had to leave. Otherwise, you know, there's bombings going on all over the place.
Yeah.
So the first step was we moved to my uncle's home, which was on top of the hill. That was good because it was safe until I was playing underground in the parking lot and bullets just went in between my legs.
Whoa.
And this is when, I don't know who it was, this adult of a man came and just picked me up and we ran inside. So that was, you know, imagine experiencing that at age 4 or 5. And this is what's going on right now in the world.
This is what's going, it's still happening.
It's still happening. It's so sad because these people are going to carry trauma for decades.
Yes. And for generations, honestly. I mean,
right.
These type of tragedies and the trauma that it creates, this lasts for generations. If we don't do the work ourselves to it's not even to heal it, but to bring awareness to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you see what's happening in the world, does it remind you of the kind of that time?
Oh, absolutely. 100%. I don't even watch the news, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So I made a commitment not to watch the news. I get a peek at it.
Yeah.
Because I like to be informed of what's going on. But yeah, it breaks my heart, you know, because you're talking about hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people.
Yes.
That are being misplaced.
Yeah.
Going to another country and starting all over again.
Yeah.
And that's part of my journey.
Yeah.
You
so
know,
you made it to
we
your
started
uncles.
all over again.
You made it to your uncle's, and that was no longer safe. Where did you go to next?
Yeah, so let me just tell you what I seen at my uncle's place. This is a story that I don't share too often.
Yeah.
But I remember he has a 4-story building. We're sitting in like the 3rd story. I'm not sure exactly what floor. But, you know, you see this guy on a motorcycle just trying to avoid, you know, the bullets, the missiles. Wow. And, you know, you're watching this at age 4.5, 5, and all of a sudden he misses a few, and then there's one that hits him. And then you just see him fly in the air. You know, the whole motorcycle, his body. It was, yeah, nobody should see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially not a child.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody should go through that. So from that moment, when it wasn't safe, we moved, I think, like 6 different towns within a period of 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah. We ended up
all over Lebanon?
Yeah, yeah. I believe it was more on the south side, closer to Israel.
Yeah.
So we stayed there for about, I want to say, from age 5 to about age 10. We just stayed there. You know, my uncle was coming to the U.S. He had a son living out in the U.S. My uncle, my mom's mom, her name is, she was born in Maine.
Mm-hmm.
So we collected the paperwork. My uncle did all the research, found the paperwork, found that she still had a sister, half brother living in Maine.
Yeah.
And he helped us basically get all the paperwork together and come to the U.S.
Wow. So your uncle was able to do whatever he needed to do to get you guys, your whole family, over to U.S.
Yeah, I mean, his job was basically to get the paperwork together and guide us in the right direction. And then my mom and we went to Beirut. My dad and my mom had a property in Beirut. We lived there for about a year, and we traveled. We commuted to Syria because there was no American embassy in Lebanon at that time.
Yeah.
So we would commute to Syria every like 3-4 weeks or so. You know, as you go to an embassy, you know, they always ask you for different paperwork.
Yeah.
So they don't tell you everything that you need at once for some reason. So we did that for about a year and then finally came to the U.S. In 1987.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was that like? What age were you when you came over?
I was around the age of 11.
About 11.
About 11.
What was that like to be in America? Even though you're saying you're in Massachusetts in a poor area, what was it like to be here?
Yeah, to be honest with you, it was exciting at the beginning, but it was also eye-opening. You know, for some reason I thought you come here and you're going to see all American people, white people. Then you come here and you start seeing Hispanics, African American. It was just a mix of everybody, you know, living in the city of Hawthorne in LA.
Yeah.
And it was tough. It was very tough because you don't know the language. You know, you can't communicate.
At 11 years old, you weren't able to?
No, I mean, I came here only speaking Arabic. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I learned English when I came here, you know, with friends, making friends, etc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. And what was like the challenging part of that? I mean, I hear it in there, but like the part of not belonging, not fitting in, not speaking the language. I mean, that's a lot to overcome after going through everything that you went through.
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely tough. The English, the language was definitely a barrier. I found myself making friends fairly easy. So I made some good connections with my neighbors and kids at school. But there were still like certain aspects, like you just can't get to a deeper place because of the language. Yeah. So I found that to be very difficult.
Yeah.
And also like how to act in this new community. You know, like I moved so much in 6 years. I didn't know how to act. I didn't know how to behave. I got to a point where I didn't know how to even like share. Like, what do I share? How do I speak?
Wow.
You know, I lost part of who I am, you know, because there wasn't that consistent, you know, when you grow up in a town or a city that you grow up in all your life, you have this community.
Yeah.
So you get familiar gatherings, you know, parties, etc., baseball games, whatever you guys do. It's that culture. Well, for me, there was no culture.
So your family makes it to the U.S. You're now in Los Angeles, between Los Angeles and Massachusetts.
Right.
And you're a teenager. You've now picked up the language. You're making friends. What was the teenage time like for you?
Yeah, so it was still tough for me, I would say. Because, you know, we lived in LA, in Hawthorne for 1 year. And then my mom and I moved to Massachusetts. And living there for about another year or year and a half until my dad and the rest of my siblings came.
Okay.
So my mom basically worked to provide to get a home ready for the rest of the family to come. And that's basically what she did. So she was gone most of the time.
She's amazing, huh?
Yeah, my mom is great. She's still alive. She's 90 years old.
Wow.
I'm the closest out of all the kids to her. I think I like to think so.
Yeah.
I think she thinks me as her favorite because we spent a lot of time together.
Just you two?
Yeah.
And waiting on the rest of the family.
Correct. Yeah. So we're here for about 3 years by ourselves.
Wow.
And we lived in Beirut for a year prior to coming here as well. So we had a decent amount of time together.
Yeah.
And we're very close. Love my mom to death. Speak to her, see her like consistently every week. So she was gone a lot, you know, because she had to provide. She had to prepare the financial situation for my dad.
Right.
When my dad came and the rest of my siblings, we had a home. It was all furnished. And we had money because my mom has been working. So she was able to support the rest of the family.
So you have it in your genetics from your mom's side, it seems like.
Yeah, my mom and my dad. So my dad was an entrepreneur.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my dad was an entrepreneur back home. He owned land. He would grow fruits, veggies. He had a small store that he would sell his stuff out of, his produce. Prior to that, he had a brick business where he would just make a bunch of bricks and sells them to people that want to build homes. And that was his first business.
Wow. And you saw him in this brick business as you were a kid?
No, I was too young. Yeah, I didn't know what happened until literally, I would say 6-7 months ago, a year ago. I don't know why I didn't know about this, but the war happened and they demolished all of that business. That business just went away. He didn't get to sell it. He didn't get to make money from it at that moment. It was basically demolished. He had to start over again.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's definitely an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. My brothers are entrepreneurs as well. I got a brother in construction. I got a brother that has a print shop. So prior to that, my dad owned a bakery as well.
Oh, wow.
Right before the war happened and we had to leave town.
Yeah.
He had a beautiful bakery, you know, creating some really good Lebanese bread. And about 8-9 months into it, that's when the war happened. That's when we came to the US. So yeah, that's, I would say that's the first 13 years of my life.
You know, to go through all of that and all of that movement, you know, it's a refugee story. You know what I mean? It's really incredible to think about having all of that as an obstacle to even begin your life. Yet here you are, you know, having so much success, right? And so many people have gone through so much less than what you just shared, but create such a victim story of why they can't do something. Do you also see this in your clients, like people who create a story of being a victim? Like, how did you in your life, how did you break through? Like, I've been through a lot, but I'm going to continue to succeed.
Yeah, to be honest, I think it was just part of who I am, part of who we are as a family, as a culture.
Sounds like it, yeah.
You know, no matter what comes up, you just continue moving forward. You know, that's just part of my DNA.
Yeah.
Now, I've taken it to a whole new level. Why literally I'm responsible for everything and everything that shows up in my life. But that is that extra awareness that I've done on my own in my personal development journey by attending seminars, by doing my own coaching, by always learning.
Yeah.
I've got to that understanding. You know, books has the secrets to life. Personally, I never read a book till age 37. Was never interested. After my first Tony Robbins seminar, I've read close to 60 books because I see the value in it. And that's really where understanding comes from. That's really where awareness comes from. It comes from reading and understanding. And the next step is the application. So how do I get to apply what I'm learning into my business?
So there's one book that you and I both love, Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
By Napoleon Hill.
Yes, sir.
So this is the book. Did you read this early in your, you know, when you started reading, or this came later with Bob Proctor?
Yeah, this came as I got involved with Bob Proctor at 2019.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talk about why that book is so significant.
Well, listen, Bob was in the self-development space for 60 plus years. And he decided when he started that he wasn't going to do anything else. Mm-hmm. And this man read that book every single day for 60 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
He read a book every day for 60 years?
Every single day. Now, he's read other books as well, and he was, obviously curious about other ways of learning and teaching. But that book, he read at least a paragraph, a page, a chapter every single day. Because the school system teaches us we get to read a book, take the test, and we move on. I don't remember any books that I read in high school or junior high.
Right.
But that's not the way that we learn. We learn from reading and then repeating what we learned over and over again until we actually embody it.
Yeah.
Once we embody it, we make it part of our new self. Part of the new self gets to behave this way, gets to act that way. And now the results shift in our life. The results don't shift just by us reading. That's just collecting knowledge. Collecting knowledge is not going to get us anywhere.
Yeah.
It's the application of what we're learning consistently is going to change our results.
So what did you learn from Think and Grow Rich that really inspired you?
Yeah, there's so many stuff, but I would say on the top of my head, just since you brought that subject up, I would say persistence. A lot of us don't have persistence. A lot of people in general don't have persistence.
Yeah.
What is persistence? It's the ability for us to fail over and over and over again, and then continually move forward, not giving up. And that's one of the best things that I think I was doing on an unconscious level in my life.
Yeah. Persisting.
Yeah. Because I had a target of where I wanted to go. I had a destination. And when you have a destination and a goal, whether it's conscious or unconscious, you will continue to move forward. You will be persistent.
Yeah.
Imagine our whole society is persistence. They continually to move forward, even though they fail over and over again. Failing just teaches us that what we're doing is not working. It's not like we failed. We only fail when we quit. So developing persistence is probably one of the best things for me.
Yeah.
That I've learned. And it also gets me to disconnect from the results that I'm getting. I don't care about the results that I get because I know they're temporary. Yeah, man, my dad was blind and deaf. I don't know if I told you. But being...
he was blind and deaf and owned a bakery and the brick business?
He wasn't always blind and deaf. He became blind and deaf at age 44.
Yeah.
He can still hear out of one ear. But you have to be pretty close to him.
But talk about persistence.
Well, I think that's why I seen him, man. Like, he still planted and grew like all of the stuff from the yard, from our land in San Pedro. Like, he did that while he was like blind and deaf. In the last 5 years of his life, he was totally blind.
Yeah.
He couldn't see a thing.
Yeah.
And he still did it. So I think it just becomes natural to me once I seen him. He has nothing to complain about.
That's a part of persistence and the awareness of like, no matter what the hand is that we've been dealt, we get the opportunity to continue to move forward, like you're saying.
Yeah.
And not to stay stuck in the energy of like, of what that story was.
Yeah.
Because, that's what I'm saying. Like, you have displayed this persistence. So you started your salon business in 2008. You and I have talked a lot about that. And there's definitely trials and errors as there are in any business, but it really took off once you started applying these principles from the training that you got with Bob. Yeah,
absolutely.
And so let's get into it. You ready?
Yeah.
Let's get into some of like the basics. I think there's also in the spiritual community, there's a lot of talk about abundance and creating abundance and manifestation. Right. That is certainly a part of this, right?
Absolutely.
However, there's also some foundational tools and skills that we should get out ahead of first. So for you, Said, if there's a young man or if there's a person out there who is looking to build financial abundance, what is step one?
Yeah, definitely take the time for anybody out there that's looking to improve their life, take your time to know what it is that you really want to do.
Yeah.
Like, I know for me, I don't want to spend any time doing things that I'm not too proud of or I don't love. So set the right goals in place. Let's figure out what an individual really wants out of their life.
Yeah.
Not what my mother wants, not what my dad wants, not what my community wants, is what it is that I really want as an individual. And once you find that out, you move forward in that direction. You move forward, and you move forward with enthusiasm. You get excited about what you're going after. Without excitement, there's no aliveness. Your actions are different.
Right.
Your behavior is different. And we got to expect our results to show up. You know, going back to my business, I had 4 renters at my salon, you know, throughout my salon lifespan. Once I started understanding this material, I started cleaning out the space. I started going in the back room, the cabinets, and getting rid of stuff because I was putting it out there that I was making space for people to come and work with me. Mm-hmm. Not for me, with me. From 2008 to 2019, I had 4 people at my salon, no more. The salon was not profitable. I was already earning 6 figures from day one. Like, I was so good at marketing that from day one I was making a good amount of money, but it wasn't, the salon wasn't supporting itself.
Right.
October of 2019, I signed up to become a consultant. December, January, the salon became profitable. I had enough people working at my business for it to run itself. And that continued during the pandemic, you know, where most people started closing down their doors. My business just grew.
So at that time, what were some of the goals you set?
Well, I knew that I wanted more money. I knew that I wanted to have $1 million. I wanted to have the salon full of space because there's so many chairs. Let's fill it up with people that can, you know, do this work with me and make the business profitable to the point where I'm excited about the business. You know, if anybody has a business out there and the business is not producing financially, most likely they're not excited about the business. Like for me, I was thinking at certain times of my business, not right now, a long time ago, why am I even having this business? I can go rent a space and earn more money, right? But I was disciplined and I was persistent and I had a goal in mind. And when you have those 2 things in place, you'll just continually move forward no matter what the situation is.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty about setting goals. That's the beauty about awareness.
What are some mistakes people make when setting these goals?
Yeah, so we break down goals into 3 categories. The first goal is something that we have already accomplished.
Okay.
So if I'm earning $50,000 or $100,000 a year, there's not going to be much fun going after that kind of a goal. Okay? There's no aliveness. You're not going to feel it. The second kind of goal is when we think we know the steps, we understand the process. Like if I do this, if I move here, if I take this position, then I can reach my destination. Those 2 goals will not get us to grow because the whole purpose of a goal is for us to grow.
Right.
The third step of the goal achievement process is to go after our dream, after our want, our desire. And that's the kind of goals that we want to set. We want to wake up in the morning feeling so alive. We're not going to know how to get there, by the way. Yeah. At the beginning, this is just a fantasy. The next step in the coaching is to figure out a way to get to your destination. And there is a process for that. But the first step is to set the right kind of goal, the goal that's going to get you excited and feeling alive daily.
Right. And you've told me also, like, it's not only setting the goal, right, mentally, you got to write it down. And don't just write it down one time, write it down 100 times. Write it down on your mirror in the morning so that every morning you say this mantra and you call in those goals. Is that something that you encourage your clients to do?
Yeah. So there's a science behind it. You know, it's not just about writing it down. It's about writing it down and feeling that emotion of the goal as it's already been fulfilled. The whole process of writing it down is so we don't get connected with the outside world, the outside results that we are currently getting, because that can be very discouraging for a lot of people. It was discouraging for me. So the key with that is to repeat our goal daily, hourly, consistently, because now we're setting ourselves on the vibration of our goal. We can only attract what our vibration is. If I am in a negative vibration, I'm only going to attract more negativity.
Yeah.
If I'm more on a positive note, if I'm thinking about what I do want all day long, I'm going to feel amazing. Like most of us, for me, I felt terrible most of the time. And I was optimistic, but I didn't feel good. My emotional state was in a terrible place because I wasn't thinking about what I really wanted. I was allowing the outside world to control how I felt.
Yeah.
I wasn't living from the inside out.
What do you think it is that you ultimately wanted, or that you ultimately want?
Peace. Peace.
Yeah.
I wanted that emotional peace. Yes, I wanted that financial freedom. I think most of us want that, if not all of us. Some of us might lie if we say no. But I wanted that emotional peace.
Yeah.
There was this battle inside of me, this anxiety, this depression, that I didn't know how to get to a better place. But I knew there was people out there that were feeling amazing because I can see them. They're genuine, they're happy, they're excited, they're full of life.
Yes.
That wasn't me. But I didn't know how to get there. That was my other goal. And you know, when we talk about goals, it's not about just financial goals. Like the last thing I want somebody to do is go meet their financial needs, but feel empty inside.
Exactly.
That is a terrible place to be.
Yeah.
Let's focus on two goals. One is financial, one is personal.
Yeah. And both of these, the financial and the personal, the financial and the emotional, these are our dream life goals. These are the place that we really see ourselves at that next level. Not kind of like a slight bump up to create sustainability where we are.
Right.
But setting that goal way out there.
Right.
I do this with Sacred Sons all the time. Like setting a big goal, you know, we have a big convergence coming up, Convergence 9 Remembrance, putting it out there and then taking all the necessary steps that it takes to build to it and to get there and to do it in a good way.
100%.
So once you have your goal set, I really want to emphasize this part about repeating it.
Yeah. Yes.
And also like, you're saying we have to expect it as if it's already happening. Say more about that.
Yeah. So expectations of our desires, expectations of our goals, expectation of what it is that we want.
Yes.
Is activating the law of attraction.
Yeah.
So think about it that way. If we want to use the law of attraction to our benefit, why are we thinking of what we don't want?
Right.
Right. And that's why a lot of people are getting things in their life that they don't necessarily want. And they're not to blame. They're just conforming to the majority of the population. And I want to set a new trend. I want to set a trend where we acknowledge what's going on in our life, good or bad, but be neutral about it. And bring our focus and our energy and attention only on what it is that we do want. Mm-hmm. There's got to be time where we see the results. Maybe we're not happy with the results, and that's okay. But we got to look at them as neutral, because that's not what we want anyway. Our results are always changing. And we get to step into that behavior, the action steps that we must take in order to get to our destination with a new energy, with a new attitude.
Yes.
And that is the key to freedom. Imagine waking up in the morning and thinking about your goal all day long. Now you're activating the law of attraction, but now you're staying on that frequency all day long. I know for me, if I'm thinking about what I do want all day long, I'm going to feel amazing. In the past, I was feeling anxious, sad, because I was thinking about things that I did not want.
Right.
When we expect these situations in our life to show up, situations that we don't want, guess what? That's what's going to happen in our life.
Yeah.
This plays
How
out.
do you make that shift? Because it's easy to say, but that's a actual shift in focus, but also in there's like an attunement that has to shift.
Right.
From out of the fear into the passion and into the love of what we're doing. So you did that through courses, through seminars.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, at Sacred Sons, we do a lot of empowerment work too, to create those shifts in our life.
100%. Yeah. So the key is consistency.
Yeah.
Yeah. The key is you have to be so disciplined.
Just like with everything else.
Yeah.
You know.
But the key also is to be going after something you really want.
Right.
If you don't, you're not going to put in the energy that it takes to get there. So there's a process to it. Going back to your question, there is a process.
Right.
So if I'm thinking about situations that I don't want in my life, okay, I catch myself. Maybe I snap my finger. Maybe I slap my face. Maybe it's something to bring me awareness to change this pattern.
Yeah.
Right? So there's a beautiful law. It's called the Law of Polarity. The Law of Polarity states that everything has an opposite. Good, bad. Up, down, hot and cold.
Yes.
So if I'm looking at my situation, the results that I'm getting, and my focus is there, all I have to do is ask myself. I shouldn't say all I have to do, because people would say, if it's so easy, why are we not doing it? It's not easy at the beginning. But then we go back to that consistency. If I do that over and over and over again, where I snap my finger and I take myself from what I'm focused on that I don't want, and I replace it with the total opposite, because that's what the Law of Polarity is. We take ourselves to the total opposite of the spectrum of what we don't want. What is it that we really want? And we focus on that over and over again. Is this going to work in a day, a week, a month? Hell no. There is no way. It's like showing up to the gym and expecting this perfect body in a week and a month. It doesn't work that way. It's that consistency of it.
That persistence. That
persistence. Like, I really wanted to get to a better emotional place, and I did everything that I had to do. No matter how many times, it helped me, but it didn't get me to where I wanted to get to.
Right.
I tried a different approach. And that's what we're teaching.
Yeah. And there's another, thought to this, that we never truly arrive. Right. Because when we find ourselves achieving those goals, there's new goals ahead.
Right.
For me, in my life, that's how it continues to play out.
Yeah.
And there's like new dreams that come in. So it's really about, what I'm hearing is creating like these positive reinforcement patterns.
Absolutely.
That keep us moving, just like exactly what you said, just continue to move forward.
Right.
And it's not despite the outcome. It's just regardless, we're staying focused on the mission. So after we know the mission, we tapped into our passion, we set the goals. What is the next step in this process?
Persistence and continued moving forward. The best thing when individuals are setting goals is they got to set that big goal. A lot of time we're going after these little goals, and those are okay too. But let's go after that big goal, and that big goal is going to meet all of the little goals that we're going after anyway. The thing is, when we go after a goal and we get there, we realize that we can go after something so much bigger. So why not start that process from the beginning? Mm-hmm. Goals is basically getting us to become a different version of ourselves. We don't go after a goal to achieve the goal only. We go after a goal so we can develop ourselves with the tools that we need in life to enjoy ourselves a little bit more. Like some of the tools that I've learned over the years, no one can take away from me.
Yeah.
And the ideal realization, a goal is basically when somebody's moving towards a goal, that's success. Success is the ideal realization of a worthy goal. So if I have a goal and I'm moving towards it, I'm already a successful person.
I love that.
So let's feel that excitement right now. Let's not feel the excitement when the physical results show up. We got to feel it right now, because that feeling is going to get us to behave in a certain way. For me personally, and I think a lot of people can relate, when we live life on our own terms, that's when we're truly satisfied.
Yeah.
And we have this inner GPS. It's our intuition. And it's always guiding us. Go left, go right. Say, I love you. Say, I don't want this. Make that decision. We got to tap into that. Our intuition is one of the 6 higher faculties. The will, reason, memory, intuition, perception, and imagination. The problem with the majority, it was for me, I was using all 6 higher faculties in the wrong way because I was too connected to the physical world, to the physical results. Once you disconnect from that, now you're using the higher faculties in a productive way. We all use them, by the way.
Yeah.
Some of us use them productively. Most of us use them unproductively. I want to see all of us use them in a productive kind of way. Let's imagine our relationship being in a better place. Let's imagine our health being in a better place. Let's imagine our finance being so fucking good to the place where we get to enjoy life. Because it's not the money in the bank. It's
the joy.
It's what am I going to do with this money? Maybe I get to travel. Like I'm down here with my son for a day. I got to visit my sister, in San Diego, have lunch with her yesterday.
Yeah.
That's what money's meant for us to do with it. It's not meant for us to just hoard it and put it in the bank. We're supposed to circulate it.
Yeah.
And enjoy it.
Circulate the energy. Money being another form of energy, of currency.
Look, I'm a coach. Hire a coach because that coach is going to hold you accountable.
That's good advice.
Okay? That's the first step. Let's say you're in a position where you can hire a coach. Hire a coach anyway. I'm telling you, hire a coach anyway.
Yeah.
Because that investment that you do is going to push you. I know for me, if I'm getting something for free, I'm not going to apply it and use it and show up the way that I'm supposed to show up when I pay for something. So hire a coach is step number 1, and be committed and disciplined and open to what they tell you to do because they're guiding you. Don't just hire any coach. Hire a coach that has your results. If you're in business, hire a coach that already has the results that you have in business.
Right.
If you're in a bad emotional place, hire a coach that's in a good emotional place. So if we go past hiring a coach, something that you can do right now, grab a book. Read that book consistently. My mentor told me to study every single day. Okay? Because part of our mind, we have 2 parts of the mind. There's the conscious and the subconscious, and then we have the body. The body is the instrument of the mind. Okay? Mm-hmm. The conscious mind can accept and reject any information. The subconscious does not reject. It accepts everything as our reality. All of the results that are showing up in our life is coming from our subconscious mind. That's where the paradigm lives. Our programming is in our subconscious mind. Now, there's a beautiful thing about that. We got to be grateful for the paradigm, the old paradigm, because it got us to where we are today. But we have to clearly understand that old paradigm is not going to get us to where we want to get to tomorrow. That paradigm is controlled. It's like the thermostat in your house is going to keep, if you put that temperature at 80 or 70 or 90, it will not go above or below that. The paradigm is the same way. So if your paradigm says I earn 50K or 100K or $1 million, you will not go past that. You have to adjust the paradigm. It's called a paradigm shift.
Right.
Most of us heard that, but don't have any idea on how to do a paradigm shift or make it happen.
Give us what's your definition of a real paradigm shift within our conscious and subconscious mind?
Sure. Well, paradigm shift is done subconsciously, but the awareness is brought consciously. So I consciously have to be aware of this new pattern, these new behaviors that I'm going to be making part of who I am. Okay? Mm-hmm. So let's say I'm earning 50K, but I want to earn 100K. Well, consciously, I'm going to write that out as my goal.
Again, without knowing how to get there.
Right.
Put it all the way out there. Whatever that goal is, put it out there into the unknown.
Right. You don't need to know how to get there. The paradigm will tell you, dude, it's complicated for a lot of people, but as soon as you step out of your comfort zone to go after something you've never done before, the paradigm is like, come back here. This is the comfort zone. That's the paradigm's job. The paradigm is meant for us to keep us safe.
Yeah.
But what's on the other side of safety? As we said earlier, the law of polarity. There's freedom on the other side of safety. So we experience that fear and we step into it anyway.
Yeah.
And that's where the freedom lies. Once you understand what the paradigm's job is to do, is to keep you comfortable and safe, then you step into the unknown. The fun part, as I said earlier, is figuring out how to get to your destination. I didn't know how I was going to get to my destination with my business, with my emotional state. But I was willing to invest in myself financially and my time.
Right.
To get to the results that I've gotten today. And guess what? Now I have other goals too. The key is to continually grow, because we're either creating or disintegrating. There's no such thing as standstill. If somebody tells you that they're happy where they're at, I don't think they're really telling possibly the truth, or they don't understand this concept. Because there's no such thing as standing still. We're either growing or we're dying. So in my business, if I'm not continually moving forward, I'm going backwards. In my emotional state, if I don't continually work on myself and show up to other Sacred Sons events, and maybe other ones, but I love Sacred Sons, and I'm going to continue to show up to Sacred Sons because I feel so damn amazing. So I will go backwards, but I can't go backwards too far. I mean, let's face it. I've worked so much on myself the last 10 years that
there's no going back.
There's no going back. Think of it as a easier path. Like if I say, Adam, hey, meet me in downtown San Diego, and I have this way to get there, and it takes me an hour to get there. Let's say I take the side streets. You're like, dude, what are you doing? There's another way. You can get there in 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Yeah, take the highway. Why would you go the other way? And that's what I teach is. It's going to give you that freedom, that mental freedom that you need to get to your destination in a shorter period of time, but also enjoy the process every step of the way.
That's not something that people often talk about. There's so much talk about grinding. And I think there's a part of what you reframed as persistence. Even that terminology, like people are on their grind, and it's like, I do like seeing it as enjoying the ride. There's something beautiful about that versus having to always grind.
Yeah. Yeah, grinding is something that I used to do a lot of.
Yeah.
A lot of.
Say more.
And I thought I had to grind and work long hours to experience the finances that I'm experiencing today. But what I've realized that I didn't have to grind. I can actually work less and I can earn more by working less. Now that old paradigm, go back to paradigm, that old paradigm talked me out of that idea for years.
Yeah.
Because I've been wanting to do that for years. But I had to come to that understanding and making that decision that I am going to move forward with that idea. See, when a thought comes to us, that's our higher self guiding us. And we have to follow it.
Absolutely.
So, with my experience, yes, there is a better way. There's an easier way. And we can always work less and earn more. We can also enjoy the process. Like in this last event that I went to, talking to other men, some are working 10 hours, 16 hours, and they're making a great living. But they're afraid that if they step back, the results will not be the same. And that is far from the reality. The results can be the same. They can actually be better because guess what? Now we're more relaxed. Now we're taking time to take care of our families and enjoying ourselves. I would like to see more business owners stepping away, maybe stop working at 5 o'clock, maybe 6 o'clock. And maybe a lot of people right now might be watching and say, there's no way I can do that.
Right.
And I get that too. Like, I understand that if somebody's in that situation, because that was me. But if you hold an image of what it is that you really want, like, sit down and write out what that is.
Yeah.
Like, get a pen and paper out and write out your life script.
Yes. How do you, like the script, the future script, how do you want this thing to go?
Yes.
Yes. I love that.
Yeah, write it out and don't hold back. As my mentor says, go on a mental shopping spree. How do you want to spend your day? What time you want to start work? What time you want to finish work? What do you want to do after work? What kind of clothes you want to wear? What kind of car you want to drive? What kind of home you want to live in?
Yeah.
What kind of vacations that you want to take? And at the moment, for a lot of us, this might seem like crazy. This might seem so far from the current reality, but it's not. I'm living proof. And there's a lot of people that are actually applying this method to get in exactly what they want out of life.
Beautiful. Let's talk about lifestyle in that case. You came down to San Diego today to do this. You're with your son. It's beautiful that you can even, have the freedom, take the time, as you said. What does it mean to you, as coming from your background that you shared, now being a father, raising 2 boys? Do they also have the entrepreneurial spirit in their blood, as you did?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. 100%. Yeah, my fiance is also, running her own business. Basically, she does hair extensions.
Shout out to Soul.
Definitely.
We love you, Soul.
We love Soul so much. So yeah, my kids definitely want to go that entrepreneurship route. My son is currently in barbering school right now. He's about to finish.
Yeah.
He's already creating a financial situation for himself, even right now at age 19.
Yeah.
Where most kids are, still either in college or universities. And look, I think that these things are great as well. Like, go get your education. Education is sacred and everybody should get educated in one form or another. But you got to know what you want. Like, my son wants to open up barbershops. Not 1, not 2, few. So that's his goal. He's going in that path. Wow. Yeah.
He's got the right father to help him with that.
I like to think so, yeah.
Yeah. What's your fatherhood journey been like? I mean, we're approaching Father's Day, and, gosh, if there was a piece of gold that you could share with brothers in our community, that you've gleaned from your journey, what would you share with other fathers as a piece of inspiration?
Yeah, definitely. My dad was pretty much absent from my life because he was always grinding.
Had to.
Yeah. And look, my dad had 10 kids. So he had to grind. He had to feed a lot of, a lot of babies. But we adapt that into our culture as dads, as moms. And what I can say from my own personal experience is take that time. Don't make the mistake that I did.
Yes.
Where I wasn't as present. I want to say I did great, but now that I've learned a lot of this material and I'm able to be there in a different way for my family, I could have done things differently back then as well.
Yeah.
But I was in a place of, fear. I was in that place where I need to earn a living, where I can support my family. Well, my family needed me more than anything. They needed that one-on-one connection. So yeah, if you're out there and you're living together, mom and dad, or you're a single parent, because there's a lot of that out there.
Yeah.
Take that time. Spend that time with your kids and be consistent with it. I remember coming home one day, this was a few years back, and my son, I went in his room to check on him and have a quick little, check-in. And he said, "Dad, I don't need a lot of your time. I just need you to be present. And I need 5-10 minutes. So we don't need to give our kids an hour, maybe 2 hours. They don't need that much of our time. They just need us to play with them and connect with them deeper.
Yeah. It's like when you do show up, be very present for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing. And they definitely see the change in me.
Do they?
They're supporting my journey.
Is that right?
100%.
Wow. What do you think the change, or what is the change that they're seeing has been reflected by them?
Some of the changes I would say is just they see me doing the work. So they respect that. They respect that I am working on myself harder than I work on anything else. And I don't have to say too much. It's my energy. It's how I am more present with them.
Yeah.
That they get to be different with me. I get my kids to open up with me, which something my older son did not do for a majority of my life with him. And I need that. I really need that as a father. We all do.
Yes.
So I'm so grateful for him to be like, hey, this is what's going on. So if the kids are not opening up to us, it's us. It's not them. It's us. Like, we got to work on ourselves to allow that space for them to feel comfortable to come and share what's really going on.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I think the best wisdom often comes from those places where, we learned, or that we felt like we could show up just a little bit better. So I think that's very good advice for any parent out there.
Yeah, definitely. And look, there's some amazing parents out there. Sol is an amazing parent. Amazing. So there's a lot of great parents out there. My advice is there's always another level.
Yeah.
In everything we do. If we run, we want to run faster. If we're doing weights, we want to go a little bit heavier. If we're earning a certain amount of income, we can earn a little bit more. We want to earn more. If our relationship is in a great place, it can get to a better place. And we should take advantage of that opportunity, all of us. Always continually developing ourselves and getting ourselves to a better place. And look, there's a lot of people out there that are not doing well. Yeah. There's a lot of people out there that are struggling. When I lived in Lawrence, Mass, it was the 15th poorest city in the country. So I got to see a lot of that, and the best thing for me was my mom and dad and my siblings, my older siblings, decided to move to the West Coast. And even when I was in this West Coast lifestyle, there was a lot of gangs. There's a lot of things that I was around that I shouldn't have been around in my high school years.
Yeah.
And that environment was not healthy for me. It's not healthy for anybody. So once we shift that environment, everything starts to change. It might not happen overnight, but we gotta limit ourselves to certain individuals in our life. We might love them. We might want to spend time with them. We cherish them, but we know they're not good for us. And we don't have to cut them out of our life. What we just have to do is limit the time that we spent with them. But most of us won't even do that because we don't understand that our environment is more important than heredity. So I got to surround myself with people that are constantly pushing me, getting me to get to a better place.
Yeah.
So I can literally sit here and say it doesn't matter what situation somebody's in, because that was me. I mean, I was in a really dark place. As optimistic and my finances were decent, I was still in a dark place. And at one point, my finances were not good at all. Like I was doing things I should not be doing. And I shared that with my son yesterday, and it's the first time I ever shared it with him.
Oh,
because
wow.
I didn't want him to know how negative I was at certain times of my life. But he's older now. I didn't want to influence him at a younger age. Now he's rock solid. So I can tell him whatever and he gets to decide because now he has his foundation. So yeah, it doesn't matter how bad somebody's failing. You can get out of that place. There is hope. There is faith. My salon was an opportunity for me to speak what I want into existence. Speak what you want into existence. It doesn't matter whether it's your current reality or your environment says you can have it or not have it. You can have whatever you can imagine. So imagine it, fantasize about it, get yourself fully committed to it, get disconnected from the present situation and the results that you're getting, and just bring your focus back on what it is that you're going after. And it's going to continually show up. The results they're always in our face. So they're going to continually show up. The bad behaviors, the results we don't want, the relationships that we don't want, the health that we don't want. Reject it. Reject it all. Just simply reject it. It is difficult at the beginning, but you practice this habit for a week, for 3 months, for a fucking year. There is no such thing as going back. Because going back to that paradigm, we have built a new paradigm. And once you build that new paradigm, the old paradigm becomes obsolete. We don't change the old paradigm. Most people, that's their attempt. They're trying to change their current reality. No.
You have to go to the whole new world.
Yeah.
Whole new vision. Let's
build a whole new reality.
Let's build.
And as we build these habits, we make the old reality obsolete. The old paradigm will become obsolete. The old paradigm is not gone yet, though. It's still going to be there like, hey, let's go back here. But no, you override that.
Yeah.
Step into that person, this new version of you that you want to become.
All right, Said, this is a good place to wrap. As there's brothers and sisters out there listening to this, I want you to give them your final thoughts, motivation, inspiration. Like, how would you inspire someone who's out there? You know, maybe they're not absolutely failing, but they're out there and they need just that final word of like, I'm going to start today. What would you tell this brother or sister?
Yeah, faith. Faith and believe that you can reach your destination. You know, we become what we think about. So let's start thinking about what it is that we really want. Let's start writing out our life story.
Yes.
You know, this is something that I do with my clients all the time. Let's write out our life story for 7 days. The end of the 7 days, we make it smaller into a smaller life story. And this is what you read. This is what you record on an app or something. Listen to it daily, consistently. Brainwash yourself with this new version that you want to become, this new life that you want to have. And whatever we think about eventually shows up. You know, there's a really beautiful drawing. His name was, he was a doctor back in the 50s or 60s. I'm not sure how long ago. His name was Dr. Thurman Fleet. And he drew this picture because nobody's ever seen the mind. There's basically a top circle that's cut in half, the conscious, subconscious, and the body. The conscious is the gateway to the subconscious. Whatever the subconscious feels emotionally and believes, the body acts. The body will just take the order. So consciously, we accept and reject any information. So start rejecting any information that is not in harmony with the target, with where you're going, with your goal, with your vision. And only put stuff in your subconscious mind, the life that you really want. Let's get excited about that, get emotionally excited about that. You know, the thought that's coming to us is setting a vibration in our mind and in our body. The thought, a negative thought leads our emotion to a negative emotion, which sets up a negative action step, which sets up a negative result. Let's start with a positive thought, the thoughts that we really want. Let's feel that emotion, more positive of what it is that we really desire and want. And that's going to set a different action step. And only then we get to create a different result. It's a beautiful pattern. Anybody can apply it. I'm telling you, anybody can apply it. If I can apply it, anybody can apply it if they practice it consistently. And this is the beautiful part. Get disconnected with the present result. Get connected with your future self, what it is that you really want. And if you stay connected with that consistently, constantly, and you move forward with it, in 6 months, you will not recognize yourself.
Guaranteed.
Guaranteed. And then you do that again for 6 months, and again, you can't recognize yourself. And you do it for 6 months, and you can't recognize yourself, so you're constantly growing.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Here's to growth. I love what I'm taking away really is the oneness between the emotional and financial pillar. Like there's a dance and a oneness between our emotions, between our passion and our desires and the results that we're actually getting. So I really feel that in what you're bringing through.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, my mentor taught me that our desire, our wants, can also be things that we don't want. Because if our focus is on things that we don't want and we're expecting it to happen,
yes,
now we turn that into our desire, and our desire has no other way but to show up. So let's be more conscious of that, and let's make our desire only the good that we desire, which means we entertain what we want more often. Look, I get it. It's not like somebody's going to wake up tomorrow and just have this dialed in. No. There's still going to be things that show up that we don't want. But with this practice, we start minimizing it. So now we're not living there for a month. We're living there for a week. Now we're not living there for a week. We're living there for a day. We're not living there for a day. We're living there for an hour. We're not living there for an hour. We can start snapping our finger and taking ourselves from that state to a whole new state.
Yes.
And that's the power in this material.
That's the power. Said, if brothers and sisters want to connect with you, where can they reach out?
Yeah, they can definitely reach out to me directly. You know, I don't know if I can share my number, but
I'll put your Instagram and your email in the show notes.
Absolutely, yeah. They can hit me up on Instagram. You know, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, directly, shoot me a text. Our job here is to help each other. So let's help as many people as possible.
Let's do it. With that, Said, Adam Jackson, said.zaarour.
Yes, sir. Adam Jackson, you're the man.
We are the men. We're here to help. Sacred Sons, we're out, family. Peace.
Peace.
Thank you for listening to this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please share this talk with someone in your life. Share it with 3 people in your life. And if you can, leave us a rating or review wherever you are listening or watching. And more so, join us. Join our community. We have events happening all around the world. We have online calls. We have multiple ways to connect. Youth programs. Our Sons Youth Convergence 3 is coming up. Again, go to sacredsons.com, use the code SUMMER24, and we will see you there. Thank you.